I'm gonna show you now the steps how to read the musical notes the fastest way. Very important, don't skip the last step because this is the most important one, and if you skip this one, basically everything you've learned before will be meaningless. So I would say let's jump right into it. So the musical alphabet has 7 notes. So when you go to your piano and you take the note in the middle, this one is the C. If you cannot find this one, just look for the twins. Okay, look for the twins and then go 1 note to the left, 1 note down. And this one is the C. Now, if you got the C, then you go 2 more steps down. So 2 notes down, 1, 2. And then it's just the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then we stop and then we just start again with the A. And so on. And those are our 7 notes. So now we have the tremble clef and also the bass clef. The tremble clef is usually for your right hand, okay? And the bass clef is usually for your left hand. So now the tremble clef is also called the G clef. That's because the G is right on the line where you start drawing your tremble clef, so where the tremble clef begins, so right in the middle. And that's why on the second line you'll find the G. So that's pretty simple to remember. Just remember the tremble clef is also called the G clef, and in the middle of this sign of the tremble clef you'll find the G. Okay. Now the bass clef is called also F clef. Now, here you can remember between the 2 dots, you'll find the F. This F here. Okay. Perfect. So we know already 2 notes on our sheet music. So we know where the G is, and we know also where the F is. Now, in total, we have 5 lines and 4 spaces. Okay. And each represents 1 note on the keyboard. Now, how do we know which line or space represents which note on the keyboard? Now, let me tell you a little trick. So the first note in the space is the F. Then the second space is the A. Then the next one is the C. And the space on the top is the E. Now, when you look at all those names, in total, it's face. So you just have to remember the word face and you know immediately all the names of the spaces of the tremble clef. Of course, we also have a little trick for the notes which are on the lines. And so for this one, it's a little sentence. It's every E, it's the first note on the first line, good, but we know this one already, it's the G on the second line. Every good boy, it's the third line, the B. Das, D, and the last line is the F, fine. So we have every good boy does fine. As always, please don't forget to leave a thumb up and subscribe my channel so that we meet again in another video. Let's practice and see if you can remember. Now, when we have this note, for example, now how do we know the name of this one here? Okay, now we see it's on the line, so we go to our sentence. I just showed you the sentence for the notes on the line, and we see every good boy. Okay, it's the third one, so it must be the B. Okay, if we have now another note, let's say this one here, it's not on the line, but it's a space. So then we go for the word face, and we go, okay, first one, F, A, okay, it's the second one, so it must be the A. Now, if we move on to the bass clef, now important here, the notes are not the same as in the tremble clef. We still have the alphabet, okay, so we still have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but the lines and the spaces, they are not the same notes as in the tremble clef. So the line on the top in the tremble clef was the F. Now where in the bass clef, it's the A. The top line, okay? So that's very tricky at the beginning, I know, but I'm gonna show you also a trick how to remember the notes in the bass clef. So for the bass clef, I already told you that you can remember between the two dots, you'll find the F. So that's basically your safe space. So your anchor, you can call it. Okay. Always know that for sure. The F is between the dots. Now, in the order, I already told you also, is still the order of the alphabet. So we still have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. For the line, we also have a little sentence. And this one is good. So we have the G. Burritos. B. Don't. D. Fall. F. And apart. Now for the spaces, we also have a little sentence. And this one is all. A. Cows. C. Eat. E. Grass. G. Perfect. Now you know already all the notes on the lines and also in the spaces. Now let's practice those as well a little bit. Now let's see if we have this note here, for example. Okay, we see, okay, this one is not on the line. So we have to go for the sentence all cows eat grass. So we have all cows eat. Here's the E. E. So it must be the E. Now let's do another one. And then we see, okay, this one is now on the line. So we go for the sentence, good burritos don't. Here's the D. So this note here is the D. But maybe now you ask me, okay, if I do this method now all the time, if I want to look for a note, it takes me hours to look for all the notes in my sheet. And that's why I'm going to show you a faster way soon. But first, maybe you ask yourself also, what if the note is higher than my 4 lines? And then we draw an extra line like this. Okay, so in the bass clef, the highest note on the line is the A. Now, if you want to go higher, no problem, we just draw some extra lines, okay? And we just continue with the alphabet. That stays the same. So if this one is the A, then we just continue with the B, C, D, and so on. Now, the only thing we are missing now are the black notes, okay? Now, I explained to you all the white notes, how you can find them on the keyboard and on your sheet music. But now, what about the black notes? Those are pretty simple actually. Now, for each white note, we can add some accidentals, a flat or a sharp, okay? If you don't know them yet, I recommend you to watch my accidental video where I explain how they work, because I won't go into detail here. I'll link it for you on the top. But you can just remember, if you have a sharp, let's say in front of a G, for example, then we have the black note G sharp. And we go to the right on the keyboard, okay? So here's the G, and with a sharp, it would turn into a G sharp. Would be this one here. Now, if we put a flat in front of the G, we have a G flat. And then instead of going up, we go down. So we lower the G. So we have a G flat. This one is this one here now, okay? And that's how you name the black keys. Okay, let's practice this as well a little bit, okay? Let's say we have this note here. Now, how do we find it on the keyboard and how do we call this note here? Okay, so let's see. This note is not on the line and it is in the tremble clef. So we go for the word face. Face. I hope you can remember. Now we see, okay, it's the first one. The first letter already is the F. So it has to be an F, but there is a sharp in front of the F. So that means we have an F sharp. So now, for the sharp, we go 1/2 step up. Okay, we go 1/2 step to the right on the keyboard. So it has to be this black note here. Perfect, so now this note is the F sharp. Okay, let's also do a second one. Let's say we have this note here. Well, let's see. This one is on the line and in the tremble clef also. So we go for the sentence, every good boy does fine. Every E, good, G, boy. Okay, that's our note already. B, so we know that one is a B, but before we have the flat, so it's a B flat. We go, instead of up, we go down if we have a flat in front of the note. Now the most important step, how to read the notes the fastest way. If you count all the time, good burritos don't fall apart, and every good boy does fine and so on, it will take you hours, especially if you have more notes, right? So that's why we have something called intervals, okay? And that's the secret trick to read notes faster without counting and thinking hours which note to press next. So I'm going to show you now the most important ones. So the first one is the step. It's a simple step. So if the note is one step away, let's say we have an A, and then the next note is here, there's only one step in between. So from the A to the B, it's just one simple step. So you know, if you have the A, just go with the alphabet A, B, and you know the next one is the B. Or let's say we have another note, let's say we have an E, and then you see the next one is this one here. Then you know, okay, after the E in the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, comes the F, so this must be the F. Of course, this also works if we have one step down. Then you just have to think, okay, what note is before the E? Okay, so A, B, C, D, E. Okay, D is before the E, so the note before the E is the D. The second one are thirds, okay? That means we skip one note. Let's say we have a C, and then we skip the second note here, and then we have the next note. You can recognize this one pretty easy because you always have a line and then another line. Or you have a space and then another space. It cannot be a space and a line. Or it can also not be a line and a space. Okay, it has to be a line and a line, or a space and a space, okay? So you always know if you see that interval, just look for the first note, and the second one, you just skip one note and then you know the second note, okay? So let's make a little melody out of step and thirds, okay? So let's say we have this melody here. Now, how do you play this melody? We can do the first method, just look for every single note and then put it all together. But let's do it the faster way. Just look for the first note. We see it's on the line in the tremble clav. So we go for the sentence, every good boy does fine. So we know the first one is the E. And now the second note is also on the line. So it has to be a third. Now just skip on the keyboard one note and go to the next one. Perfect. Now the next note is just one step away. The next note is not on the line but in a space. So we just have one step up, go one step up from the G. The next note again is also on a space. So we have space and space. So that means we just leave out one note. Then we go down again. But here also check, do we have now a space or a line? We have a line. So that means from a space to a line, only one little step. Go one note down and then we have line and line. That means just skip one note and go to the G. Okay, so the whole melody would go like this. E, then we skip one note, one step, skip, one step and skip again. And this way you don't have to count for each single note. Yes, that's it. If you need any help with your music piece, join my coaching program. Link is in the description and I'll help you out 24/7, whatever you need.